how do you become a useful source? I go to PR events, and that is something that is said a lot. Become a source. How the hell do you do that, Miles? Have you ever done that for somebody where you position your client to be a source? Is a source the same as an expert on the subject? Does it, you know?
Yeah, and it's an uphill
besides
battle.
being, you know, best friends with
It's
the
an
person.
uphill battle. Again, if you're serving clients, of course they think they're experts at stuff, and it's your job to put them out there and get them speaking engagements and get them written about and quoted, you know. Unless they're really, really, you know, have written white papers or whatnot on the subject, or have a proven track record of, you know, being persuasive in front of large groups, that there actually can be noted as a reliable source. It's an uphill, in my experience, it's an uphill battle.
I find a source is someone who doesn't want their name used. You know, whereas an expert is someone who wants to be quoted. And along those lines, I would say, you know, one way to, the truest way to ingratiate yourself to a journalist is, as Andrew said earlier, tell the truth, you know, and also, by the same token, tell the journalist what you know. And sometimes that may not be the best information for a rival, or it may not be the best information, even in rare occasions, for your own client. But so long as you hew to the line of truth, I think that builds a relationship with the journalist where you then have a working relationship, where the journalist can trust what you're saying, can take it to the bank, and will then be more kind of receptive to your pitches.
What about, let's say I pitched a story to them and they even acted on, or you guys acted on it, and then I do want to continue that relationship, but I don't have any of my stories to pitch, but I happen to hear of something cool going on. Is that a good idea? Hey, Jesse, listen, you know, I'm not associated with this at all, but I think you may be interested in blah.
Yes.
Yes, that's one way of doing
Yes.
it. Yeah?
Absolutely.
That doesn't add to your just overpowering inbox?
Well, I mean, if you're calling me about the coffee shop on your corner, wow, it's fantastic, like that may not pique my interest as much.
That's
but
a Twitter.
if-
Yeah, exactly. That's a
That's a
tweet
Twitter.
right there.
That would be that 0-word story. But if you're calling to say, hey, by the way, I heard that AIG is going to go under, for example, that might be something that would pique my curiosity, you know.
You know, are we talking about, can I clarify something here? Are we talking, you're talking about how can PR people be good sources to us?
People.
I'm sorry?
Business owners.
Business owners. Well, to begin with, one of the things we run into all the time is that the CEO doesn't do the talking. And this tends to happen at larger scale businesses, but it can even happen in mid-sized businesses. They have just torn a page out of the White Book, or the White House's whole theme that we have to control the message. So you have these companies with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees, and all the media communication is funneled through one person or a couple of people. No division heads can talk. The CEO, you can't get at the CEO. What a good PR person, a good PR department, is a company that really wants to, you know, I think, have a good relationship with the newspaper. The CEO needs to get out there once in a while. They're not there talking every story. But for crying out loud, we've seen stories where there's a merger, you know, a significant merger or acquisition, and the CEO is under his desk or under her desk. Instead, they've got a spokesperson saying, this is what's happening and here's why. And they're very limited in what they can say. It's all about this controlling the message, and it makes for very bland news, and it makes for disinterest in the company in terms of the newspaper. So, you know, I would really encourage, you know, have a good PR person who coaches you, a CEO, the owner of a company, coaches you in how to be articulate with the media. And yeah, we work with sound bites. We like colorful characters, We want people who are very frank. We want people who will admit things aren't going well right now. There's an awful lot of CEOs out there or people at all levels of companies that simply, yeah, I mean, that almost have to pretend that they're not human and they don't breathe the same oxygen. It's, you know, oh, everything's great at my place. You know, we're in the Great Recession, but my company's doing great. And that's just, there's zero credibility with something like that. So credibility, honesty, accuracy, you've got to be accurate. And you have to be willing to, you know, call yourself on your own shit once in a while. Say if you fucked up, you fucked up. I mean, just say it and come out with it. This is what we did wrong. You will gain a tremendous amount of respect and credibility, and they're going to be there during the good times because every mistake you make, you're going to learn from and you're going to turn it around.
I think that business owners are a tremendous and invaluable, from my point of view anyway, an invaluable source of information and expertise, because you know what's going on out there. I sit in an office, sometimes I get out there, but you actually know sort of what's going on, and if you can speak to what's going on around you, not simply what's going inside your own organization, I'm going to find that really valuable. And in fact, even in terms of the storytelling, it can really help because rather than go to the same tried and true predictable, quote, expert, who often you find isn't really so expert after all, frankly. And we know a lot of, you know, I'd rather actually get a sort of a feel for what's going on from somebody who's actually right out there, sort of in the middle of it. And I will quote that somebody, and I'm not going to say necessarily that this person is like giving me the seminal answer, you know, to all the mysteries of the universe by any means, but this is what I'm hearing from that person. So, for example, if I'm doing something on the auto industry as it's affecting California, you know, I'll talk to, ideally, I've got a couple of people out there who both sort of are representatives of, say, satin dealers, but they also have their own showroom, and they will tell me very honestly what's going on with their own auto sales, and they'll tell me what they're seeing going on around them. And I find them to be very candid, and these guys are experts because they live it and breathe it, and basically, and they're sort of like, they're breathing not necessarily, but much of their existence depends on what's going on, you know. And so, who is better? And they're seeing what's going on around them. So, you know, it's not just your auto lot that's jam-packed with, say, hybrids that ain't selling anymore. You know, it's the lots just right next to you and down there. You're seeing all this stuff. You're speaking to people in your business. You know what's going on. You're always going to know more than I do about stuff. You know, and you're usually going to know more than so-called experts. Some experts are pretty good, you know, but.
Can I have one vivid example?
Yeah.
That happened at a very large level. Take a look, and I'm not talking smack about the New York Times right now, but take a look at what happened to Judith Miller. I mean, Judith Miller was sleeping with Les Aspin and reporting on the federal government, what was going on there. Then she starts listening to sources who, from the Bush White House who hate the New York Times, and they're feeding her information so that they could end up with stories that even the New York Times is writing about supporting stuff for the war. And she completely got disgraced because she had dealt with people who were not credible, who were not accurate, who she couldn't trust, and unfortunately she let her guard down, and it destroyed her career. And so we have to be on guard against that, and as journalists, and that whole idea is the damage that can be done by people who are not credible is something that you know, just is a tremendous blemish on any publication at any level.
And I remember a couple months ago, you were writing a story about how startups are doing in this economy, and you called Miles for a quote because you knew he was sort of involved in that world. So
Yeah.
I just.
And as far as I remember, he said there's interesting things going. Some people are trying, but it's, you know, it ain't. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.